Good morning, everyone. Good day. And welcome to this meditation and your meditation, where you have the opportunity to meditate both with yourself and with a large community. And the large community is meant to support us so that we are more inspired, more content to really sit here in our own direct experience, knowing that there's a wide field of support, of mutuality, of companionship on this path, and that you're not alone, but knowing you're not alone, a willingness to put everything else aside the best you can, to be right here, not so much with yourself, but with the experience that's immediate and current. And I love the word current because it means both in the present moment and the current of a stream, a river. And so here we are in the current of time, in that little window of it that's always moving, always changing, always flowing, that we call the present moment. So to assume a meditation posture and close your eyes, and to give some nice attention to the body, to adjust the posture. Could be large adjustments, small adjustments. Just kind of get everything as best you can lined up in harmony enough that what's available to you and your body to support being here in the current of the present moment through the experience of the body. Your body is always in the present moment. Your mind, in a sense, seemingly wanders off in thoughts about the past and future and fantasy, and in a sense is not so then grounded here in the present moment. And so here, to bring the mind into harmony with the body, with your capacity for attention, with awareness, not so much awareness brought to the body, but allowing for the awareness which is in the body. And then within this body, taking a few long, slow, deep breaths to begin attuning yourself to the rhythm of breathing, the coming and goings of the in-breaths, the comings and goings of the out-breaths. That here, this body breathing, is where you'll be centered. And as you exhale, relaxing your body as a way to continue to center yourself here, now. Letting your breathing return to normal. And from the inside of the body, noticing where there's tension and holding in your body. Almost as if you discover the awareness that's inside the tension, And gently as you exhale, to continue relaxing the body, relaxing the belly, the more relaxed the belly is, the more it's part of the river of change. It's with no sensations frozen in time. The sensations of the belly just move and appear and disappear, flow by, making room for the next one. Relaxing the shoulders. Maybe a deep relaxation of the shoulders, the top of the shoulders, shoulder joint, down the arm. And feeling the vitality, the pulse of life, the energies that are a little bit freed up when the muscles are not so held tight. And relaxing the muscles of the face. As if the face could sit back in an easy chair and just take a break, rest. And then within this body, as part of this body, become aware of how the body experiences breathing. Breathing in and breathing out. And to bring a little more careful attention to the breathing, so the awareness is more continuous. With each inhale and each exhale. Stay right there with the whole length of the inhale. And notice how the sensations that come into play are changing during that length of time. Stay with the full length of the exhale. And notice how there are changes in the sensations connected to exhaling. And not that you're leaning into it or staring at your breathing, but more you're settling back and opening, allowing, receiving the full length of the inhale, the full length of the exhale. It's the receiving of all the changes that come into play as you breathe. And then notice that some sensations pass away. The sensations of inhale come to an end as we begin to exhale. Some of the sensations within an inhale pass away, come to an end before the end of the inhale. Just settle back and without trying too much or straining, just receiving. Appreciate how sensations pass away. And if they don't worry about it. Just notice the ones that do pass, that are no longer here. They might return, but just noticing their passing, or noticing that they're now gone. Without thinking or reflecting on it, you can also open your awareness more widely to be aware of any sensation and how it passes. Notice what comes to an end, or passes away, and maybe it starts again, but just noticing the passing of it. Or notice the passing of our attention on it. Attention is on one thing and then it pulls to something else. Appreciate all that is passing away, coming to an end. As you notice that things are in the process of passing away, or as you notice they have passed away, appreciate that then at that those moments, it doesn't make sense to cling to anything, to depend on something which is fading away, which is gone. And see if you can appreciate that openness, that non-clinging to it, the freedom and space that that provides. That in and of itself, when things pass away, in the passing, there can be a feeling of freedom, spaciousness, peacefulness, in and of itself. Settle back into the flow of present moment experience, appreciating all the things that are passing, sounds, sensations, thoughts. Anything that changes is also, there's part of it that's passing away. chances are the thoughts that you had at the beginning are not the same thoughts you have now. Those thoughts have passed away. Some of the sensations of your body that were current at the beginning of the meditation may no longer be current. Something else is. What you were feeling has maybe changed. It's no longer here. Appreciate the absence that's left behind when something disappears or no longer present. Don't be in a hurry to fill the absence. Appreciate the openness, the spaciousness, the freedom that comes when there's nothing there to cling to hold on to, or to resist, because it's no longer present. And as we come to the end of this sitting, if you have some sense, some feeling for the openness or freedom that comes when something passes away, and how it doesn't make sense to cling to something which has passed away, is in the process of passing away, will pass away. And even if it's inconstant, it comes and goes and comes and goes, it's going can teach us the value of not holding on, not expecting, demanding, wanting, but allow it to pass. And to remain open and free for the next thing to arise. And if the next thing to arise is another person, as you go up through your day and you meet a person, you communicate with a person, you think of a person, to become aware of that person in that way of the way of non-attachment, the way of openness, receptivity, the freedom that can come when we don't cling to what has passed away. And then maybe we don't cling to what arises. We stay open, non-clinging, non-contentious, without need or demand. And this can become our gift to others, that we receive them and know them without the filter of our attachments and our demands, expectations, bias, prejudice. That in the freedom that we learn, we meet people with an openness, a peacefulness. And maybe this is one of the gifts that we can offer the world from our meditation practice. Because may it be that our meditation practice not only benefits ourselves, it benefits others. Maybe at some point it's even more valuable for us to meditate when we know we do it for the welfare and happiness of others. What a gift to be attentive and aware and present for others without any filters of attachment. May all beings be happy. May all beings be safe. May all beings be peaceful. And may all beings everywhere be free. So we're still lingering in the 13th step of mindfulness of breathing, that of observing inconstancy. And that there's something about inconstancy and observing it that leads to the 14th step, which is usually translated into English as dispassion. When we'll get to the meanings of it, maybe tomorrow, or soon. But there's something about seeing impermanence that is onward leading, seeing inconstancy, which opens something up, that allows something to unfold and deepen or move along. And the very common term in the Buddhist scriptures is the idea of the Dharma is onward leading. And it's onward leading to greater and greater freedom. And one of the things that's very much so a part of this onward leading nature is this settling back, resting in awareness in a sense, and becoming more and more aware of the transiency of experience, the inconstancy of experience. Sometimes it's called impermanence, but as I've said, that's going to imply, for some people, only means that sooner or later something will no longer exist. It'll die or be gone forever. And while there's wisdom to that understanding for sure, and it can be freeing in itself in a certain way, the core insight of the Buddha has more to do with the momentary inconstancy of things, that everything is kind of part of, or like, he didn't say this, but it's like the inconstant waves or ripples on a river that flows by, and the little wavelets come and they go, they exist and don't exist, and they're inconstant. They're constantly being reborn, constantly passing away. And so many of our sensations are coming and going, coming and going. Sometimes they stay longer than we wish, but sooner or later they pass and they maybe come back again. But to really settle in and really start seeing more and more precisely or intimately, closely, how much of our experience is a flowing experience, is a changing sensation, is things are appearing and disappearing, sometimes in rapid succession, or sometimes it can just feel like everything is just flowing sand. And the reason for flowing sand rather than water, as some people say, is that sand is a little bit more like particular. So it's a little bit more the particular sensations that have some kind of clarity to them, whereas water flows, but there's no sense of a particularity to each molecule of water. Whereas sand, there's a particularity. Or some people, it feels like snow, just everything is just like snow, or raindrops, but flowing sand. And everything, and just really settling back and getting very still, and then appreciating how everything is arising and passing. This was a very significant insight for the Buddha. It was like in the way it's described in some texts, is like this was his big aha moment. This is what in seeing this, he realized this is the path to liberation. With seeing this arising and passing, the inconstancy, there was light, there was wisdom, there was clarity, there was the path open for the Buddha. But in particular, both seeing arising was very important for him, but seeing the passing was very important as well. And it seems like the passing and the ceasing of things was even more important than seeing their arising. I know exactly, I'm not sure, but one reason is that when we know that things pass, even if they're inconstant, they come back, we know that they're not permanent. We know that it's not always that way. And that frees us from the mind that kind of unconsciously or subconsciously we relate to things as if they're always going to be there. And as opposed to relating to them as being, oh, this is just part of the flavor of the moment. This is what's coming here now, and in due time it'll pass. And in fact, if I pay really careful attention to the particularity of the moment, it's already passing and then arising, passing and arising. And so knowing that it's not constant, so that's very helpful with things like suffering. If we think that suffering is durable, stuck, solid, unchanging, then it's very hard to get in there. It's like concrete. It's very hard to get in there and try to do anything with it. But we see it as more as flowing sand or flowing water. Then you try to reach into water and hold on to it, grab a fistful of it, it just disappears through your fingers very quickly. And so we realize suffering doesn't have that solidity we thought before. Self, all the things we think of as myself, or we identify strongly as being this is who I am, to really see that it also has a certain way of inconstancy, that it comes and goes, the sensations, the experience, the thing, the role, the ideas, the feelings, the intuitions, whatever it might be that we think is it, that this is myself, we start seeing that too as part of this flow and current of a river, and we can't quite hold on to it. And so there's these gaps in the arising and passing. There's these moments of freedom. And the passing begins to teach us not to cling, not to grasp. And we start seeing it's simply not worth grasping. And this is a powerful insight that comes many, many times in life, all kinds of ways. But in deeper and deeper meditation, there's a sense of well-being, of freedom and openness, a lack of clinging that's so palpable that we begin feeling that any movement to contract, any movement to resist, any movement to hold on tight, or to linger and be involved with something that's going on, is a loss of some of the peace. We're actually better off in the freedom. We're better off in this deep, settled, quiet peacefulness. And in that we can learn it's not worth clinging. We lose something in the contracting. We lose something in the resisting. And it isn't that we are told, as a good Buddhist, you should let go of clinging. It's more like, there's no admonition like that. It's more like, pay careful attention, become quiet. And when you notice for yourself that you're worse off clinging, then don't cling. And one of the lessons for this that helps this is when we realize in certain deep states of meditation that clinging doesn't work at all, because whatever it is we're clinging to is also constantly passing away, constantly passing away. And whether you don't have to be in that constant passing away place in meditation to begin appreciating how much does pass away, and how in the passing away it is possible to tune into a kind of peacefulness, a freedom, a spaciousness, an openness that kind of allows or makes room for, or permits, if we don't cling to the next thing that comes up. Kind of allow it to pass, and in the space that it leaves behind, in a sense, just be open there, be relaxed there. Take that in. The next thing something else will arise, but rather than being, preoccupied by it or caught by it or analyzing it or reflecting on or doing things with it, allow the next thing to arise in that space, in that openness, in that field of awareness that just lets it comes and goes. And in the process of doing that, we learn more and more about letting go. We learn more and more about not holding on to anything. And I need to charge my battery. And so, because batteries also pass away, and it's probably good for the next couple of minutes to keep it going. This teaching on not self, that is often perplexing for people, is a teaching that makes more and more sense when we understand that nothing qualifies as an enduring self. There's nothing that we can find inside of ourselves or in direct experience. Then we're really intimate and close to direct experience. Nothing that qualifies as, that's myself, because it passes as well. And the idea being that anything that passes cannot be an enduring self. And any theory, for the Buddha's point of view, any doctrine of self, any theory about what the self is, lends itself to a kind of reification, a kind of solidification on what is self. That's not possible when things are constantly changing. It's kind of like there's no place to hang your hat. There's no place to tack, with a thumbtack, no place to tack any philosophy, idea, concept, theory about what the self is. It's like taking a thumbtack and trying to stick it into a river and having it stuck. It doesn't stick anywhere. So any theory about self just doesn't quite stick, doesn't quite work when this constantly flowing and constant nature of experience, that begins to open up in deep vipassana practice. So this, the core, deepest kind of important insight of insight meditation is this inconstancy of phenomena, the changing nature, the current of phenomena as it flows through and arises and passes here in the present moment. So to settle back and observe that, on this 13th step is what's talked about. And as we do that, we begin feeling that the things that we cling to, have passionate lust for, passionate hatred for, that all that kind of the ways in which we're driven or about things, passionate around our attachments, just doesn't make any sense as well. And it stops losing its allure. It stops losing its enchantment. We stop falling under its spell. And then we begin observing that we're less and less interested in clinging, less and less interested in lust and hatred and, this driven, attached kind of passion that can happen, like the passion for money or the passion for power or kind of the negative understandings of passion. And so then the 14th step is observing dispassion. So then we'll end, and this will pass as well, and we'll make room for the next thing to happen, and chances are it's simply inconstant, and we'll meet again here tomorrow at the same time. Thank you.